close.
24. Really?
All right, I think we got it.
Yeah, I'm 24.
All right, so. Boop.
No. I just look 27 right now because I'm in 3 months.
All right, I'm trying to get it hooked up, guys. Bear with me.
Flip the camera? Isn't there a button to flip the camera?
The other camera sucks on the Acadiana and everything's backwards. Just bear with me. You're showing them live.
I just saw you dropping.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna.
Pick it back up. Is it right way?
Yeah, I thought I turned the music off, dude.
I mean, work family balance is one thing, but I'm trying to find my own balance, bro. Like, that's why I ain't really rushing to that, because I'm still trying to balance my own responsibilities.
Exactly. Find your own balance before you try to balance having a baby.
Yeah. Still trying to figure that out. I already figure out when to train.
Find your balance. Because the thing is, you find your balance.
Sorry.
When you get in a relationship,
Feedback.
you got to balance things with their relationship. Then, if a baby comes involved, you got to balance the baby, then the relationship, then yourself.
Fix Twitch because we're all crooked, but we should be okay if I do this. Nope, no way. All right.
Okay. Don't look at it doing.
All right, so this is the post-roll podcast 1. The whole point of this podcast is just we're streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. So this is so like you can just kind of get an idea of things we talk about after the advanced practice in the morning. So a lot of the guys that come in the advanced class, the Nogi class in the morning are like, they're not all professional grapplers, even though a lot of them are higher belts, but we all have like personal lives, and we were just talking about balancing our personal lives and training at the same time. So starting over here, we got Tanner. So Tanner's a white belt, dirty white belt that trains with the big dogs almost every day throughout the week. I'm Heath Henry. I own this place. This is Clayton Hebert, one of my brown belts. He actually runs the place while I'm gone. And this is CJ Henny. He's one of our professional fighters. We all pretty much train on. Well, believe it or not, you train full time. And we all have lives outside of the gym. Me for one, I just had a daughter. She's 1 month old. And we're just kind of talking about I think one of our purple belts, Dustin, was asking like, Coach Heath, you can be coaching a little bit more in the gym. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm making it in as often as I can, while still managing other things. We make jokes around here that our kids program comes first. And I talked to all my, I was joking with Mike earlier, like the kids, I love the kids more than you, but it's just true. Our kids program is kind of what helps us to where we can all train, and have a nice facility.
Jokes.
It's not jokes. It's not jokes.
Fact.
But also, I realize now that I have a daughter, I love you, Clayton, but, I love her a lot more than you. So when it comes time to, spend a little bit extra time with my kid versus come and get a little bit more extra training time, and things change a little bit once you have a family. And, I'm really starting to understand that tenfold. This used to be my family, and Morgan, was integrated herself into this place. And now it's like we actually, got a little family at home now, so it's a little harder to balance everything. I'm just trying to figure it out. But
What's that joke online running around with all the parent Instagrammers that are like, when the fitness influencer says I have the same 24 hours as them, and their kid is harassing them in the video. I don't know. That's what you're at. You're the parent influencer on Instagram now.
Well, I haven't been influencing very much of anything on Instagram besides a baby picture every once in a while, because she's adorable. But yeah, I know my focus is shifted a little bit. CJ, you got a bunch of kids. One of them sitting right there.
Yeah, I got 5 kids.
So I know you're a master at balancing things, or at least keeping the kids in order.
Yeah.
Oh no! Mike works better if we use the little foam roller instead of
Mike is our game.
Well, no, it's in front switch.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be about the gimbal at all. Actually.
Woo! All right, perfect.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
We got Mike Holman, our IT guy over here.
Young Holman.
Young Jamie.
Young Jamie.
Young Holman over here. Can you see us?
And we're back. And we're back. So
Okay, so yeah, man. So Clayton, you know, you have a fiance, you know, new house note. You know,
Yeah.
how's that like for you, man?
well, our bank account just hit 0 last night, and then I breathed life back into it with my check. That was the first time our bank account has ever hit 0. It's crazy.
It's a cycle. It's like you get the money, and now my bank account has gone.
Is this
We
what?
don't
Is
even
it,
talk about it, you know?
yeah. Is this what the gym account feels like? Where it's like
So Tanner, like, it's good that you started training with us now. Like 2 years ago, I used to tell people, man, you know, bro, life comes in waves, man. You know, like sometimes life's high, you know, and you gotta ride that wave, bro. And sometimes it's low, and you gotta remember the highs, man. You know, actually, I found out I'm kind of crazy, and not everybody's like that. Most people's lives are kind of steady in the middle. You know, it's been going crazy, but I realized, like, with a kid, I like by myself, I'll accept high highs and low lows, and like I'll get myself out of the low lows. But with the kid, like
different.
you can't hit those lows, bro.
Yeah.
Like there are no lows anymore. There's no like I'm gonna gamble on this, and like if I have to live in a shed, I will. There's no more of that. You know, it's
not
so
just
like
yourself.
yeah, the stakes are higher. So like
When you become a parent, it's all about that kid. You come last.
yeah, I think when I was single too, like. And you know, Clayton probably can attest to this. And are you single? Yeah. So you're into shit right now. There's this merit in just grinding through hard shit. When like something about like you know some spoiled people create adversity. They'll create adversity out of nothing.
That's
you know?
what jiu-jitsu is.
But jiu-jitsu is like a healthy way to do that. So like if you're, you know, some people, you know, they'll go travel abroad. You know, they'll date a toxic girl for a year or something. You know, they'll find some type of adversity, but like jiu-jitsu is like I think probably some of the best adversity you can put yourself through willingly. That will make you a better person because of it. Maybe not seem like it at first because you get beat up a lot, but you know when you leave, you're always a better person than when you came in for sure.
It's like life in the before 4 times. You know, when we were cavemen, and you know we had to go hunt and kill a jaguar and bring it back to the cave where the cave family is.
What happens if you don't hunt?
You die.
You don't eat it.
Yeah, you don't eat. So like, jiu-jitsu is the modern day. What is it? 21st century? 22nd? 23rd? Contemporary century version of hunting, in a way. So instead of going out and picking berries or killing a jaguar, you're just going to create conflict through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, it used to be if you weren't healthy and in shape, you didn't eat.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't wound that animal and track it down for a couple miles, you ain't eating. You're gonna starve. And it's crazy when you starve, you get real freaking athletic when you're hungry.
Yeah.
You know, you see kids in third world countries, they're real athletic. You know.
You turn one into one of those what is it? The triathlon runners in the Olympics that like are like skin and bones.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're not carrying around any body fat.
You look like CJ cutting weight.
Yeah, like it's but it's weird, you know, when you cut that weight and you looking all like Skeletor up there, and you haven't killed that animal yet. You know, and you're looking at that dude at that face off or at that weigh-in, and that's your food, dude.
It's like it's time to eat.
You hungry, bro? You hungry? That's that dude that made you.
Time to let that beast.
I know it's like you made me cut this weight. It's your fault. I'm hungry. It's your fault. I'm taking it all.
But we don't condone cannibalism at Acadiana Jiu-Jitsu.
No, it's all metaphorical.
Yeah, it's
Neither do we condone the fighting of actual gamecocks. You know.
Cocks.
So, yeah, man. Well, what about like after training versus like before? Because sometimes like I don't want to come to the gym, like whether it be to work or I don't want to come to the gym to train because I'm out of shape and fat right now. But like, you have to step. If you're used to doing this, you know, I've been training for like 15 years or so now. So like, I'm used to training every day. So like when I don't train, something is off. I'm a little bit more irritable. I'm a little bit more upset.
It's like it throws your routine off.
Yeah, man. It's like you don't go to yoga or whatever. But by the way, we have yoga too, and that definitely does help. But
your first class is free.
First class is free. but compartmentalizing all of your shit, all of your problems, leaving it at the door. Come do something very hard where if you're thinking about those problems, Clayton's gonna rip your fucking foot off, or CJ's gonna choke you till your eyes explode. It's kind of therapeutic to leave it there. Come do something hard, kind of like people play video games to escape, right? And then when you wake up the next morning or when you leave the gym, all your problems are still there, but you're a lot more mentally equipped to deal with them.
Level-headed too, and clear-headed.
Yeah. So like, you know, that argument that you might have had with your significant other or your boss or whatever, you know, after you train, it's not so bad. You know, in your case, you get to choke me, so that's gotta be kind of cool.
It is therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, CJ, what do you know when it comes to like, you know, you always bring your kids with you. Not a lot of people do that, you know.
Yeah.
So like you know, obviously I run a gym, so my kid's destined to be a gym rat. But like, you know, how tough is it, you know, bringing your kids with you to practice and everything, you know, hauling them, you know, you live, you know, a good distance away and you train in Scott and Lafayette. So what's that like, man?
To be honest, whenever I first started it was hard, but you know, like once I started to get like that routine, you know, I started to get like a balance, you know, I started getting them in a routine. So like pretty much everybody knows now, like, okay, what the plan is. We wake up 7 in the morning, eat breakfast. So it's like whenever I wake them up, they know, okay, Dad, we going to the gym. It's like, all right, everybody brush teeth, eat breakfast, you know, let's get the clothes on, go to the gym. So like now,
in that order?
yeah, in that order.
Eat breakfast naked, breakfast naked, then we put on clothes.
So it's like, you know, the thing is, it's like, it is difficult, but you know, like I enjoy the process because I know like the moments that I get with having my kids in the gym, you know, I'm not bringing them, you know, to force them into, you know, like the martial arts culture, but it's like, you know, it also shows them, you know, like what a good work ethic is like because they see me, you know, like in the beginning of a fight camp all the way, you know, leading up to the weight cut. You know, my kids help me with the weight cut. They go to the weigh-ins with me. So, you know, like they see the whole process. And I feel, you know, like a lot of parents, you know, they sometimes withhold their kids from that and they don't let them, you know, get to see that process. But me, I feel, you know, like it's a great thing to have them be a part of because, you know, they see like, yeah, you get in the cage, you know, you fight and yeah, it's fun, but they also get to see, you know, like the hard work, what leads up to, you know, like going into that cage. So, you know, they really appreciate it. And also I get to appreciate, you know, seeing them be around and see me do what I love to do. And now I'm starting to get them back in the habit of where now whenever we get done training, they get on the mat and, you know, they'll start wrestling. So, you know, it's just those moments, you know, being able to, you know, see them go from crawling to walking, you know, to even helping me carry my bag and, you know, like even open my bottle and give me water, you know, like I feel that's really what it's all about. Because, you know, like those moments, you know, you can't get back.
It's a gym family.
Yep.
Do you feel like there's the saying that it takes a village to raise one child?
Oh,
do you feel like that the gym is kind of like the village?
Oh, definitely. You know, like leading from you to Coach Heath, you know, to all the coaches and the staff over here, you know, and I really see that, you know, with the gym coach, you know, like it's not, you know, it's just, you know, that's my training partner, you know, like.
With that being said, we will only watch your kids if you're teaching classes for us or your child is in the classes.
Because it's not a baby.
You can't just drop your kids off.
Yeah, it's not a daycare.
And I know you know who you are. You know who you are just dropping the kids off here to go, you know, running all errands. But, you know, we're going to teach them how to, you know, do illegal techniques and, you know, make fireworks at home and stuff.
Yes.
We're going to give them a bunch of Red Bull and sugar and send them right home, right before they leave. But no, all jokes aside, man. So it sounds like the routine, getting them into a routine and getting them the experience in the routine is kind of key. But like, it took a while, you know, to get to that routine.
It's a process because whenever we first started coming in, you know, the kids were all over the place. You know, like they were running around. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, they still have their moments, but for the most part, now, you know, everything is settled. But like I said, you know, thanks to all the coaches and the staff and even, you know, like the parents off the match, you know, like they play a big part, you know, so that's a great thing, especially, you know, like whenever I'm coaching or when I'm training, getting ready for a fight, you know, it definitely takes a village for sure. Like, you know,
It might take a village to get you in a routine, I guess.
Yeah, but, especially when you got 5 kids like me, so.
Yeah, I got a 1-month-old, and that's our biggest thing right now, man. We're trying to get her into some type of routine, but like if, you know, I think it goes for both kids and adults.
Can she even see yet?
Huh? Man, sometimes I think it's like, oh my gosh, she's looking at me, and then I move my head, and she's looking at the fucking fan. So, I don't really know.
I'm trying to get my 1 month old in routine. Can she even see?
Well, she's kind of like looking at you, and then like her eye starts to kind of cross a little bit, and you're like, oh, I hope that doesn't stay. But you know, I think the same goes for kids and adults. You know, it's really hard for us to get our kid in a routine right now because neither me nor my wife are in a routine right now. I'm kind of staying home a little bit more often. She's on maternity leave, so like, what is the schedule? Well, we don't know. We're trying to figure out the schedule that's off the schedule. And then once we get used to that, we're probably gonna have to have her going back to work, and then we'll be on that schedule, having to figure that out. So like, I think a lot of times when it comes to like, well, I see it a lot in the parents with kids in jiu-jitsu. The routine gets a little askew, whether it be summer or back to school or the holidays, and they're like, oh man, we hadn't been coming because it's easier to stay. Well, it's like, this is part of the routine. Yeah. And like when jiu-jitsu, like going to jiu-jitsu is part of the thing that kind of calms you down or calms your kids down. And yes, it's hard. Yes, you don't. No one really wants to go to jiu-jitsu when it's time to go. You know, I'm sitting there scrolling on Instagram. Think about if you were sitting at home playing on YouTube and now it's time to go to work. Like, damn it, I don't want to go to work. Well, your kids don't want to do that either. They're sitting there watching, what is it, Bluey or Papa Pig or Miss Rachel, I don't know what the hell, but they're watching something and you're like, okay, let's take your digital babysitter away that you love so much and go to your real jiu-jitsu babysitter, and they're like, no, I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu. It's like, give me Bluey back. And it's like, oh, what have we done? It's like, oh, we just take Bluey back. Mama's going to go watch some TikTok reels, you know? Yeah, that's true. Well, what would be better? You know, bring the kid to jiu-jitsu, maybe go, you know, take a walk around the park, get some grocery shopping done, you know. But the kid in jiu-jitsu, you get your TikTok hour, whatever it may be. What's better what's the better outcome? You know,
it's keeping those kids on that routine,
or yourself.
Yep.
You know, or yourself,
and holding yourself accountable.
I know. Like, man, getting into the routine's tough, but like the merit you get from being in it is really worth it.
We have some parents and kids that are the exact opposite, where the kid wants to come to jiu-jitsu, but the parent
they don't want to take them.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, we gotta go again.
That's the biggest one. Yeah. That really hurts.
So that being said, man, shout out to all the parents that are, you know, knocking it out of the park. We're not like talking trash on any parents. Well, maybe a little bit.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. But like, there are some killer parents in this gym, man. Some people, you know, they're here five days a week. Sometimes, you know, more than that if we're doing tournaments and stuff. It's like, you know, you guys are doing great. It does take a village, and you know, we're the village. We're here to kind of help, either help you escape from your family life and your children and everything for an hour, or to let your kids and your children come escape for an hour, and you kind of have an hour to do what you want. But the ability that jiu-jitsu has to kind of make your day a little bit better, kind of the mental clarity and stuff, you know, I can speak for one. Like, before we trained today, I was a little anxious, and now I'm a lot more chill. I mean, I don't think I'm even stuttering that much right now. It's just kind of cool.
That natural dopamine.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I guess to wrap it up, balancing the schedule. You know, first you have to make the schedule, and you kind of have to stick to it, right?
Start a spark.
You know, you start the spark to ignite the fire. I guess.
Starting a fire is really hard. Have you ever tried to start a fire?
I start somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout, bro. I used to get in there with the stick and everything.
Okay, Eagle Scout.
It's a process.
What's the best way to start a fire fast?
With a striker.
Okay, if you don't have that, it's like you have to start it in the woods. Can you start it fast?
The bow and arrow with the stick.
The stick with the when you have like the straw, you gotta. You gotta blow,
get the shoestrings off your shoes. So like, there's no fast way to make a fire.
Nah.
You gotta prep it first. Yeah. And even if you do everything right, if your kindling's fucked up and you didn't take the time to make it right, you know. Anyway,
if you're out of shape,
I'm not the Eagle Scout, but
you gotta start somewhere. You can't make a fire.
Yeah, but they do say, look, piss poor preparation produces piss poor results. I do remember that one from the instructor training course.
Yeah.
But make a schedule, write it down, try and stick to it. I'm definitely projecting here, because if anybody could take this advice, it's myself. The better routine you can get into for yourself, the better you're going to be for everyone else in your life. So, you guys have anything y'all like to add?
Get to class.
Get to class.
Yep. Put in the work.
Get to class. Move your ass to the gym.
After dope.
Peace. See y'all on the match, guys. This has been the Post Roll Podcast. Is that what we're calling it? Right on. Oh, look at that guy. Yeah. All right. Some behind the scenes. All right. Acadiana Jiu-Jitsu. And we're